Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Can indeed stop the boats, and that's why this week we have signed a new legally binding treaty with Rwanda, which together with new legislation will address all the concerns that have been raised, because everyone should be in no doubt about our absolute commitment to stop the boats and get flights off. Because, Madam Deputy Speaker, and this is the crucial point that the Honourable Gentleman doesn't understand, deterrence is critical. Even the National Crime Agency have said that you need an effective removals and deterrence agreement if you truly want to break the cycle of tragedy that we see. But what we heard this morning from his own ministers was that
Thank you, Mark.
They would scrap the scheme even when it is operational and working.
Yeah, it turned out really well.
As again,
Customers very happy with it.
Once again, instead of being on the side of the British people, he finds himself on the side of the people smugglers.
Madam Deputy Speaker, when they first announced this gimmick, they claimed Rwanda would settle tens of thousands of people. Then the Deputy former Prime Minister quickly whittled it down to mere hundreds. Then the Court of Appeal in June made clear there's housing for just 100. The current number of people sent there remains stubbornly consistent, 0. At the same time, Madam Deputy, Article 19 of the treaty says the parties shall make arrangements for the United Kingdom to resettle a portion of Rwanda's most vulnerable refugees in the United Kingdom. So how many refugees from Rwanda will be...
Morning, Alex.
Reduce the number of illegal arrivals from Albania by 90%. Increase the number of illegal working rates by 50%. Because of all the action, we've taken the number of small boat arrivals down by a third, Madam Deputy Speaker. But what is the Honourable Gentleman's plan? Because it comes down to he just simply doesn't have a plan to address this problem. But no, I'm probably being unfair because he does have a plan. It's to cook up a deal with the EU that would see us accept 100,000 illegal migrants. Migration's trebled on his watch, and all he can do is make up numbers about the Labour Party. It's really pitiful. I'm not actually sure the Prime Minister can have read this thing. Article 4 says the scheme is capped at Rwanda's capacity. That's 100. Article 5 says Rwanda can turn them away if they want. Article 19 says we actually have to take refugees from Rwanda. How much did this fantastic deal cost us? Madam Deputy Speaker, as the Home Secretary was crystal clear of that, there is no incremental money. There is no incremental money that has been provided. This about is ensuring that the concerns of the Supreme Court have all been addressed in a legally binding treaty that will allow us to operationalise the scheme. But I'm glad he raised the topic of legal migration, which I agree is absolutely far too high, Madam Deputy Speaker. That's why this week we've outlined a plan bigger than any other government before to reduce the levels of legal migration.
Oh dear.
By 300.
So did he go straight home or did he stay and work?
So if he cares so much about it, the simple question for him is, does he support the plan? Madam Deputy Speaker, he clearly hasn't really. And Annex A says, on top of the 140 million he's already showered on Rwanda, when we send people there under this treaty, we have to pay for their accommodation and their upkeep for 5 years. And that's not all. This morning, a government minister admitted that anyone we send to Rwanda... for nothing in return. I'm sorry, lost the thread of the question, Madam Deputy Speaker. The simple point is, fact, we know that they don't want to tackle this issue because even when this government was trying to deport foreign national offenders out of this country, they opposed it. Multiple members of his shadow front bench all signed a letter to me to that effect. But I don't need to tell him that because he signed it too.
Order.
Okay, that's enough. Sir Keir Starmer.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I would say that this treaty's got more holes in the Swiss
What a
cheese.
bunch
I
of
don't want
twats.
to wind up the Prime Minister by talking about a European country again. Madam Deputy Speaker, you have to give credit to the Rwandan government. They saw this Prime Minister coming a mile off. You can only imagine their delight, their sheer disbelief, when having already banked £140 million of British taxpayer money without housing a single asylum seeker, the Prime Minister appears again with another offer they can't refuse. A gimmick that will send taxpayers' money to Rwanda, refugees from Rwanda to Britain, and won't stop the boats. There was mention of Margaret Thatcher earlier.
Understandable excitement about the national name. But the House must listen to the leader of the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer.
Party go from up yours to laws to take our money, Kagame.
Mr. Speaker. Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, when it comes to this European thing and Margaret Thatcher, this is the week that the Shadow Foreign Secretary, I think, didn't rule out rejoining the European Union. He can role-play Margaret Thatcher all he wants, but when it comes to Europe, his answer's the same. Yes, yes, yes!
Madam Deputy, forget the private jet. He's also a private planet of his own. But as Daily Mail readers learned this week that the Prime Minister has begun to feel sorry for himself. He's even been heard comparing his plight to his
I'm
beloved...
going to use some of this American oak,
I do think that's
which I
a bit
got
harsh
amongst
because
a lot of the offcuts which were gifted to
on
me a while
11
ago.
game unbeaten
So I'm going
run.
to use that.
While, as the song has it, the Prime Minister gets battered everywhere he goes. But if you want the perfect example of how badly the... Of how badly they've broken the asylum system. Madam Deputy Speaker, last week the Home Office admitted that 17,000 people in the asylum system have disappeared. Their exact words, it's hard to believe this, we don't think we know where all these people are. Now, you might lose your car keys, you might lose your headphones, you might lose your marbles. How do you lose 17,000 people?
Madam Deputy Speaker, I mean, on the topic of football team, he used to describe this Rwanda policy as immoral, and yet his football team has a Visit Rwanda ban. In the week when he made his big economy speech, we're still waiting to hear how he's going to borrow £28 billion and still cut taxes and reduce debt. It's same old thing, the sums don't add up. But while they're struggling with their calculator, we're getting on and delivering. A new treaty with Rwanda, the toughest ever measures to cut legal migration, our schools marching up the tables, and tax cuts for millions, Madam Deputy Speaker. So whether it's controlling our borders or lowering our taxes, just like the Saints, the Conservatives are marching on.
Order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sitting in traffic.
Yes, sir, I get fed up.
Involving lane closures and temporary traffic lights, often invoking utility company emergency
that when they cause all this chaos, when they breach the rules of their permit, the maximum penalty is an £80 fixed penalty notice. So all the Prime Minister back my campaign and
Tonight? Well, it is morning. Well, early afternoon. I don't know what time scale you're on at the moment, Mark, but clearly you're
and that's why we've set
still
aside £8
on
billion
different
pounds
hours.
as a result of our plans on HS2, Madam Deputy Speaker, which is enough to resurface over 5,000 miles of road to improve journeys, a cornerstone of our plan, but also we are introducing a range of measures, as the Honourable Gentleman says, to reduce congestion from roadworks. Contained in the plan for drivers is a scheme for greater fines and penalties to ensure that work do finish on time, and I'll make sure that we look at his suggestion and I wholeheartedly back his campaign.
Leader of the Scottish Nationalists, Stephen Flynn.
Deputy Speaker, is the Prime Minister worried that he is projected to be the first Conservative Party leader to lose a general election to a fellow Thatcherite?
Before. Ha ha ha. Isn't it funny? Bunch of clowns, you know. They're just having a laugh.
We really must hear the Prime Minister, and we've got a lot of questions to get through. It's not the Prime Minister's opponents who are giving him trouble. Prime Minister.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I say to the Honourable Gentleman, Margaret Thatcher's view was cut inflation, then cut taxes, and then...
Well, Mark, if you be up to date on my videos, you'll know that I got your package.
Of course, Madam Deputy Speaker, it's not
Well,
just
unless
in relation to
I
Margaret
have forgotten to make
Thatcher,
the
as
video
Tory
public.
Labour leader appear to
That's
agree.
possible.
The same is true of the government's latest migration policies. Now, for this person, these measures acceptable to ask people to come to these shores to care for our family members, whilst we show complete disregard for theirs. What has become of this place?
Well, Madam Speaker, it's completely wrong. No, as we've already said, we have a proud track record of welcoming those who are most vulnerable around the world. Over 500,000 over the past few years from Syria, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Hong Kong and elsewhere, and that's what this country will always do. But at the same time, when it comes to economic migration and other forms, it's absolutely right that we take strong action to curb the levels that we have seen, because they are simply far too high and place unsustainable pressure on our public services.
Someone is at the front door.
Contribute to our public services.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I first of all welcome the government's significant funding increase for 2-year-olds preschooling in 2023?
About 4 minutes after 12, and PMQ's reaches conclusion. Again, I'll just run through some of your thoughts on it, and then we'll talk to Natasha about hers. I did think that actually, James, in Tunbridge Wells, you spoke, they listened, the Cones hotline is back. What a question. Obviously nothing else going on. That question, James, in Tunbridge Wells, as you well know, is a gimme. Quite a few of you picking up on that. I resurrected the ghost of the Cones hotline yesterday, and whoever that obscure backbencher was complaining to Rishi Sunak about traffic jams seems to have brought it back into play again today. Ian in Wolverhampton also picking up on that. Let's have a look. I just threw coffee everywhere, laughing at Sunak's plan, writes Joe, to win the election. Yet more mess from this Tory government. A bit of bants while the country crashes and burns. Brilliant. Starmer missed an open goal there. With things you may lose, you should have voted for Oyster I didn't think it was... Sunak and his Tory cronies were an absolute joke, and unfortunately none of us are laughing. That's the end of my Sunak's like John Major, but without the charisma. which I think is a comment that works on several levels. And Matt picking up on something that I'm inclined to agree with. Sunak looks like he's had enough of the whole situation. He seems to be defeated. And Sunak looks more like Pip the Younger from Blackadder every week, says Guy in Torquay. Quite a few people picking up on the Cones hotline as well. Love the show, James, but PMQs has become an embarrassing part of our government. These are supposed to be our brightest and best. I can't believe the behaviour. Other countries must think we are beyond saving. You'd be surprised, actually. I forget what country it was in, but they're routinely actual fist fights in some parliaments. Natasha Clark, overseas political editor, is with me. He went in hard on Rwanda and he went in quite effectively.
He did, he was really good. I think another stunning outing for Keir Starmer there, wasn't it? You said it wasn't going to be better than last week. I think it was.
Do you? No, I said it might be. You said it wasn't.
No, I said it wouldn't be.
Rewrite history?
No, I said you said that it was going to be better, that it could be better, and it was. So I'm just telling you that you're right. I think you might appreciate that.
We get used to it.
I thought it was better than last week. His strategy of really making lots of terrible dad jokes, but actually it does work, and then intersecting that with some quite dissecting of this Rwanda plan, really ripping it to pieces, and kind of not focusing on the overarching theme of migration, but just going forensically in on this is why it's rubbish, this is why it doesn't work, this is how much money it's going to cost. I think that really worked for him today.
Staying away from the moral dimension of it as well, which is almost the essence of Keir Starmer, isn't it? Pragmatism, really, ahead of anything else. Because if you stay away from the moral dimension, you don't have to really, apart from Sunak reminding me at the end that he did once call it immoral, there's a change in tactic, right? Because now he's just focusing on the inefficacy of it and the cost and the small print. And the small print is terrible for the Foreign Secretary and for the Prime Minister, up to and including a senior Rwandan politician on the telly yesterday.
Spent more money. James Cleverly did admit yesterday that more money is going to be spent sending it to Rwanda to prop up the details for this treaty. We don't know how much yet. We've been very tight-lipped about it, but yes, more money being thrown away, possibly down the drain for a system that might never get up and running ever again.
That's the money that's gone to Paul Kagami's regime, of course, but Peter Gagan, who applies his trade now largely independently, I really heartily recommend his Democracy for Sale Substack, previously, of course, our Open Democracy. Peter's put in an
I didn't like the look of the way that oak was looking, so I've changed it for a bit of maple, which is also similarly nice and bright.
Fighting legal challenges to the policy here at home. Last month's doomed Supreme
Which is what I'm looking for.
Cost almost £300,000, so there's plenty of money around.
Thinking about having a tax cut.
It probably does him more harm than good, because all Starmer has to do is stand up and say, I threw him out the party.
It's not here anymore, mate.
It's not here anymore, but he does still think that by saying, ooh, Europe, that might cause Starmer problems. But Starmer came back on that with probably his weakest joke, actually, about Swiss cheese and not wanting to upset the Prime Minister by mentioning a European country. I don't know that there's any toxicity attached anymore to Rishi Sunak, suggesting that Keir Starmer feels rather more warm towards Europe than Rishi Sunak does.
I think there is a bit, and there is a bit of Keir Starmer's next election. So I think the Tories obviously have very few emergency buttons to push, and that is one of them.
Yeah, and it's a weak one, even if it's mildly effective. Final question, and we need to be brief, I've just noticed the time. What's happened the last 2 weeks, do you think? This time we got new people around him? Has he changed his diet?
He's clearly stepped up, hasn't he? He's had his Weetabix, and his work. I think she, I think, does a bang-up job. But do we know, has he got new people with him, or? I do know, there are a few people that I do know that have moved into Piers Harmer's team recently, so I'm definitely going to meet them as I'm not sure on that one, but it does seem like he's shrunken up his out. He's really getting he's very forensic, and putting a couple of good jokes in.
Natasha Clark, many thanks indeed. We talked to Ruth, we're going to talk to Brenda Doherty after the news, whose mum was the first woman to die with COVID in Northern Ireland. She now co-leads the Northern Ireland branch of the COVID-19 Bereaved Families Justice Group. And after we've met Brenda, we will probably be catching up with what's unfolded at that inquiry during that evidence from Boris Johnson.
Piper's Mantle, welcome aboard.
Concerning ourselves with the current Prime Minister's weekly questions. But before all of that, Lottie Morley has read.
Boris Johnson has suggested a WhatsApp outage is the reason thousands of his messages from the pandemic have gone missing. The former Prime Minister is giving a first day of evidence to the COVID-19 inquiry. He denied being responsible for a factory reset of his phone. The government has stopped short of committing to a Hillsborough law in a long-awaited response to a report on the disaster. Ministers have signed a charter saying they will put public interest above their own reputation going forwards. There's reportedly a growing divide among Tory MPs over the government's plans to revive the Rwanda case. Minister Chris within days rather than weeks. ABC weather, showing the sunny spell most this afternoon, cloudy in the west with some rain later on, and a high of 8 degrees.
This is ABC. Suddenly disappeared. So, check the use the pension protection check on the FSCS website now. Search FSCS and relax. No one's going to make a monkey out of you. Just imagine the best Christmas ever. So,
about to win it today, is that correct? Yeah, I think I have. I'm just going to double check before I do a cartwheel. Yeah, I can confirm that you have won the top prize, 1.2 million.
This Christmas, it could be the National Lottery. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Listen up, guys. KFC here. It's our round, and the mini fillets are on us. That's right. Next time you order a delivery with a KFC app, you get a bucket of 8 crispy mini fillets for free. Gratis. Totally and utterly on the house. Firstly, of the Colonel. Yep, that's 8 mini fillets for £0. And it's only on the KFC app. Subject to minimum spend. Fees apply. Not available to guests who have previously redeemed first bucket or no offer. See website for full details.
Get in, move it! What's wrong with the car? Flat battery. What? You absolute... It's okay, lads. I'm okay. Oh, lovely.
With more expert patrols in more places, we'll get you back on the road in no time. Join the UK's best breakdown service from £7.50 a month. The AA, always ahead. New customers only, T's and C's apply. Verify best and patrol numbers at theaa.com/best.
Hi all.
Hiya.
How are we doing?
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Let's get this meeting.
Meeting started.
Come on.
Where's the
When everyone's home, EE Work Mode prioritizes your broadband for working from home with the UK's fastest major broadband provider. So
Yeah, I've got you loud and clear. There's a
Hey,
this is
Bob.
broadband made for working from home. Search EE Broadband, powered by BT.
Work mode with EE Smart Hub Plus. To verify, see ee.co.uk/claims.
Did you know you can unlock instant savings on your shopping with new BP Me Rewards Price? Nice. Give your BP Me Rewards card a scan. Oh, yeah. Bag myself a bargain, bag myself a deal. And then see Dad, I'm taking it reels.
Dad, stop.
Booyah! Celebrate instant savings at your local BP M&S food store with new BP Me Rewards Price. Scan, save, ka-ching. 16 plus participating stores. T's and C's and exclusions apply. See bpmerewards.co.uk/price for details.
James O'Brien. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
12:36 is the time. You're listening to James O'Brien. Testimony, and then we'll wonder whether you've seen it.
Thank you. I just want to make a wee correction there. I think it's actually the I've been watching the automatic that we wouldn't have to campaign for an inquiry, that, you know, the honesty and openness would be there, so that would be vital. And you're right, that's my own phone. We will never have those final 12 hours that we have, and then Mr. Johnson made his lockdown speech. I got a phone call to say that Mummy was going to die. I don't want anybody ever to be in that position again. I don't want people to be locked out of prayer rooms for months on end. They have to stand out in the room. So this is about the only lesson to save life. Young life is in ground. And people think that the cost of the continent. But I'm afraid the human cost that we've got can't happen again. so that when we do, and we will have a pandemic in the future, that we are far better prepared. So it's about, I got my mum's, I didn't join about 1918, that future generations know that we from this pandemic.
You seem to be more concerned by the preparation for future pandemics than perhaps even the current government is.
Well, that's because the current government, there is toxicity, which has been referred to by most witnesses, which is very, very, I mean, I suppose I walked around in my normal life before the pandemic, and I I've had to do things like specific materials for that, and find out that, you know, civil servants were moved to prepare for the pandemic to go on to Brexit, to deal Brexit. These are things that I never thought I would need to know. And one of the big things that really concerns me is how we can have leaders who think it's
That's a very good point. And most senior people in the organisation routinely lose 5,000 messages without knowing where they've ended up or whether they can ever be retrieved.
Oh, I'm actually wondering, is Mr. Johnson menopausal? You know, I mean, I am, but I've never done anything that tragic. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't even a good cover-up. You know, I'm afraid, and this is the problem that I have with Mr. Johnson, and I mean, really nice calling him Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
I think that he does a lot of waffling, and unfortunately, at times that takes away from the actual subject and the questions that he's being asked, and then we don't get to answers. So what I need from the inquiry and what I need from Mr. Keith is to keep pushing him and not let him off and not let him bumble. This is an opportunity for us to...
New Zealand has already scrapped the new laws. Whether UK will or not, I don't know.
In the government, and I think somewhere along the line we can get lost in that. But I think what it does show is that the personalities that you have in government impacts on the decision making. And I think that's what's got lost during the whole management of the pandemic.
Just to step back from today's events, you've obviously been following events in general very closely, the whole inquiry very closely. I mean, what words would you use to describe your thoughts at the moment? Are you encouraged by the direction of traffic, by what's come out so far, by the way that the inquiry has been conducted?
Well, it's sort of twofold. One, yes, you know, I'm really glad that Lady Hannah pushed for the WhatsApps. And I do believe that, you know, on one level, she is in a very difficult position. She's not going to be pleasing all the people all the time. But the thing for us as a campaign, I mean, I've had the privilege of being at the inquiry. I have had the privilege of telling my mum's story. And that would be the direction I would like to see. I would like to see more participants called to give evidence, because this is what brings the human cost. You know, the human cost of those who've lost their lives, the human cost of those who are still suffering from long COVID, which Mr. Johnson dismissed.
Yes, he did.
You know, and unfortunately, I think the thing is too that over years to come, people who have had COVID and are suffering consequences, you know, their health is going to deteriorate. And these are the sorts of people that unfortunately under Mr. Johnson's lead were left very vulnerable.
And the sorts of people that under Mr. Sunak's lead are being increasingly sort of shouted at to return to work. Before you go, Brett, I wasn't expecting you to bring up Spanish flu. And you certainly wouldn't have been expecting the question I'm about to ask you. But my colleague Lewis Goodall's been looking at this and looking at how across the world, in a way, there was a sense of the population wanting to move on as quickly as possible, and that entails not learning lessons, not perhaps taking the lessons from the 1918 pandemic and using them to prepare for the next one. How do we guard against that happening now? Because you clearly do not suffer from the desire to move on and file it all away and leave the trauma somewhere in a box. You're clear-eyed about the need to learn these lessons. How do we spread that sense?
I think one of the things is we have to make sure that history reflects the reality of COVID, and I think that is very important. So we need to look at education. I mean, I'm involved with another project here in Northern Ireland called Memory Stones of Love, and one of the things that we are doing at this moment in time is looking at how we can ensure that people's stories are and experiences are told, and that they are then included some way in the curriculum. You know, myself and my co-founder are hoping to go around and be part of the education with links in with stories and services. And I think that's what's vital. It's important. I know people want to move on.
Yeah.
The thing is, I will never move on. I will move forward. My mother will always be with me in my heart. She's my driving force. That's why I'm here. She's a feisty woman. I'm her daughter. But I think the thing is too, we have to realise that in order to help us to move forward, we need to see changes being made. We need to see that society is not left vulnerable the way they were in 2020.
Yes. I hope you'll allow me to say that your mum would be very proud of you.
I don't make me proud to go and do a TV. My mum. Wee Ruthie Babes is what we called her, and she was our wee. My mummy lost her son when she was 26, when he was 16 in 1984, and she showed us the value of life. So that's why I'm here, because I value life.
Well, thank you for showing us.
Thank you very much for having me on. Thank you.
God bless and good luck to you as well.
Thank you very much.
In all that you're doing. It's 12:47.
Coming up at 1 on LBC, Sheila Fogarty.
The dead can't hear your apologies, but we can. Who or what do you hold Boris Johnson responsible for during COVID?
Sheila Fogarty on LBC.
A magical Christmas with Lidl means serving your tipples with party time nibbles. With 12 tempura prawns for $1.79, a pack of chicken satay skewers for $1.99, or 12 vegetable spring rolls just 99p. There's finger food for every mood in Lidl stores now. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes NR.
You hear that? That's the sound of your energy use going in reverse. Rewinding, reducing. We're OVO, an energy company that wants you to use less energy. Some may see that as a bit backwards, but we like to see things differently. Join us and see energy from a different angle. OVO.
They weren't supposed to burn the potatoes, or invite a burn round of 2. They said 3. You weren't supposed to fall asleep on the sofa, or ask me to marry you. And you weren't supposed to be here. But you are, thanks to the best gift you ever got. And mine is still having you.
When you donate to the British Heart Foundation, you give a gift that keeps on living. Search BHF today and help us fund life-saving research.
A magical Christmas with Lidl Plus means you could get 10% off your next shop. On top of Lidl's already low prices. Just by downloading the app. With coupons and all your festive faves, and money off your Christmas shop just for scanning the app in store, you can get even more of the good stuff.
You off, Bob?
Just simple Christmas
Oh, you just got here.
T's and C's apply. See lidl.co.uk/CP. 18 plus GB only. Alcohol and infant formula excluded. 10% off your next shop coupon when you spend £250 in a calendar month.
Wrapping presents. Before you try and find the end of the tape, again, take time to treat yourself at McDonald's. Introducing the Big and Cheesy, with or without bacon.
What's the word? Stop. Brain fried. My brain is literally fried. How you doing, guys? London fog, enjoy. There he is. You're on the road this week. People were worried about you, Yusuf. They were talking about, if you look further up the chat, you can see people were worried, wanted to know that you're okay. So very nice of you to come on and let everybody know that you're okay. Perfect timing. Got the rosebud this morning. Well, this afternoon, I should say. So I hadn't heard about that the UK government's going to start looking at people's bank accounts. They're welcome to look at mine. They're empty. I live week by week on what I earn, pretty much. How you doing, Jack? Yeah, that's something you wouldn't want to say in an airport. Hi, Jack. Oh, wow. Thank you, Jack. I completely forgot about that. What was it you were sending me? That flake, wasn't it? That'd be nice. Try something new. And be going for something like that today. I've done quite a few pipes similar to that. St. Bernard, that's the one. But I wanted to make the stem a little bit more elaborate, so I'm doing a maple insert on the stem. There's the block, quite a big block, but I took a big block because I wanted to be able to have enough room to carve out the sides. The poker is already left. It's actually going to somebody in North London, and they were so desperate to get it. They sent a car over. The Green Knight was a really unique piece. Came out very, very well. I actually still have it because the guy's coming on vacation in a couple of weeks, or about a week and a half, and I'll hopefully be giving it to him in person, meeting him up probably at JJ Fox's. So the poker has already left my premises. The guy that came to the door before came to collect it. A bit of a shame because I usually show the pipes that I finished to my dad. He likes to see them. And this one's gone out so fast that he hasn't had a chance to see that one. I can give you guys a sneak preview. I don't tell anybody. Of the Harley Davidson. So this is a handlebar roll case handbag thing for Harley Davidson motorbikes, and I thought it would be cool to present it in one of those. So along with it is going to be a Harley Davidson Zippo, but one with a metal I'll let you know a better one. This one, I think it's about 70 quid. There's the pipe. There's also a strap for attaching that to a bike. This isn't the official reveal, but you guys, I'll let you see it. So, you got the Harley Davidson emblem there. A carbon fiber band, and these petrol caps, I actually sort of, I don't know if you can see it, but I named the edges to make it look like it's milled, you know, so you can grip it. So these are the petrol tanks, one on each side. And then you have the Harley Davidson logo on the front. And that's a speedometer, which you get on Harleys sometimes on the front there. And I've put another Harley Davidson emblem there, the star that you get on Harley Davidsons. So, that's the Harley Davidson pipe. Brand new. I'm just waiting on a Harley Davidson badge, which I'm going to put over there. So that's where I'm up to on that Harley. It's done anyway. So it's basically ready to go. I'm just waiting on that badge, which I'll probably get tomorrow. My son knows a guy who has a Harley, and he showed him pictures of it, and he was quite blown away by it. So I'm hoping that a Harley Davidson enthusiast will grab it. It's working out a price, which is really hard. Trying to find the right well, funny you should say that. I was actually advised against doing that. I was told that if I show it to Harley, they'd probably want me to sand it out because I'm using their name without any license. Guten Morgen, Adam. How you doing? Yeah, I mean, that's a common thread amongst many pipe makers, is getting the price point right. Well, they're trying to move up market, are they, to get the millennial business? Trying to be hip. I think they are a cool brand anyway. It's not just Hell's Angels and those kind of guys. I think it's a very classy. I think it's an upmarket pipe. At least here, it's looked upon like that. I was chatting on the yesterday's technology at today's prices. I still love about that. My dad is too. Right. Well, you mean so they haven't brought their engines up to date? Maybe people prefer that old technology. Easier for them to tinker with on their own without having to go to the garage every time. They certainly have a uniqueness about them. And the way a lot of them are low slung, first of all. I didn't know until recently. They've got an electric bike, really? Oh man. It's a bit like the supercars having going electric, you know, like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari going electric. It's just weird. It's counterintuitive. But when I was sort of designing the bike, I was originally going to put a chain around it. I bought this chain bracelet. I was going to somehow incorporate that into the design, and then somebody told me, well, actually, the vast majority of Harleys are belt driven, not chain driven. So, and also it just would have looked too kitschy. It just didn't look right. It was too over the top. So I scrapped the idea. But it was something I didn't realise, that they were belt driven. It's called live wire. Okay. Well, the electric bike. That's not the most inventive name I've ever heard in my life. Always something of an HD Electric Glide classic for the panniers. When I was young, when I was a teenager, one of the bikes that I dreamt about was the Honda Goldwing. I thought that was a very cool bike, but when you compare it to a Harley, it's a little bit too big and cumbersome. But I just loved the idea. I was so into hi-fi in those days. I just loved the idea that there was a regular hi-fi, a regular car stereo with speakers going down the sides of that Honda Goldwing. I just thought that was such a cool thing. So in my mind, you could be as free as you like on the road, but still have the comfort of a stereo. To me, that was just the pinnacle of biking. The only time I've ever ridden a motorbike was actually not quite a moped, but a little bit higher than a moped. It was a 50cc Honda, the one that they've sold millions of, the one with that swooping front bit, and then which goes under the seat. Cheapy thing. A friend of mine was driving it in those days, riding it. I got on it, turned the throttle, shot forward about 20 meters, and then I said, no, that's not for me, and that was it. I think that could be nowadays, yeah. I'd quite like to try out a motorbike. One of my sons played around with a motorbike for a while. He had a very, very big, expensive bike for about a year or two, and then sold it. He might even still have it. I'm not even sure if he still has it around the back of his house. I'm not sure if he's sold it or not. And one stage he had 2 bikes. And we're talking about big bikes, you know, the ones with the back tires like that. But he's in the car industry, so he's forever driving flashy cars. In connection with his work, and he's brought home some unbelievable cars. He's brought home a Bentley Bentayga. He's brought home Porsches and Range Rovers. How's your shed project going? Is that going to happen, Mark? Right, mess of that. Yeah, well, you can't really start it now as we're getting into the winter. I still have a dream to build my one. I kind of dream of getting into a stage where I've built up enough of a financial buffer that I don't have to work for a few weeks so that I can build it. That hasn't come to pass so far. One man and his pipe. Oh, there's a blast from the past. Haven't seen you in ages. You ride a Harley? Well, I haven't officially presented this yet to the world, but the bike itself is done. And it's going to be presented in this, what's the name, pack? That sort of bag that goes on the handlebars of a Harley Davidson. And there's a strap there as well to strap it to the bike. It's going to come with a Harley Davidson, quite an expensive Harley Davidson Zippo. This is called the Iron Eagle, which I think sells for about 70 quid. And this is the pipe. So you have the Speedo, that refers to the Speedo, obviously with a Harley star in there. And then you've got 2 petrol tanks on either side with a knurled petrol cap on each one. And then you've got the wings on the side there, engraved, laser engraved. It may not come out clear on the picture, but it's got that on both sides. And you've got a Harley logo on the front there. Kind of sort of headlighty kind of area. And yeah, that is the Harley pipe. There's a carbon fiber band on there as well. There we go. I'm still waiting on another badge, which I'm going to be putting onto the case. A Harley Davidson, which is going to be coming soon. Next day or two, I should get it, and that's going to be going over there. So that's something for the next few days, and I'm presently working on a freeform pipe. I'm just waiting for the glue to adhere enough so that I can work on it on this stem. I've just glued in 3 bands onto the stem. So the pipe is it's something along these lines, like a part rusticated, part smooth egg kind of shape. I think we can go back to the lathe. It should be enough to start working. Right, now the question is, do I go 9mm or not? My default position generally is always go 9mm, but Here's the stem, which I think looks really nice. Just going to drill it through. Right, that's the hard part done. I'll follow the stem anyway. Hey Mark, how you doing? Have you set fire to the new pipe yet? To the pot? Oh good, glad to hear it. Well, what's his name? Hans Wiedemann is making a collaboration with Kolas and Kopp as well. I was actually communicating with him on Facebook, and he says they're just distributing, they're not actually getting involved in the actual blending and stuff like that. But I wonder if in the not too distant future we'll see Hans Wiedemann taking a back step. Hope not. Hope not. He says not. Let's hope so. Oh, ivory I'm using is the grade 1 stuff. There's 2 grades you can get, and this grade 1 has got much better graining, much better graining. We'll leave that for a while. So you've got a black ring, maple, black ring, and then the ebonite stem. Back to the rosebud, eh? Seed pipe mantle. I guess his name's Dan. Yeah, so I saw this post on Facebook from Hans Wiedemann that there's going to be some kind of joining of Colas Cop or Cop and HU. Now he says that it's not to do with the blending, it's just a matter of using their distribution. Now I don't know why, because HU has been going for a long time and they don't seem to have had issues with distribution, but possibly it'll make it more widely available around the world. Maybe that's what it's about. I hope that's all it is, and if it is, then that's great. It means that we'll be able to get it in Europe, maybe here in the UK as well. I think a lot of people would be happy about that. But over the years, you get to see the signs of things, and it's a concern, you know, that maybe he's kind of saying, you know, I've been in this trade long enough, and it's now time to take a back seat. That's a distinct possibility. But he says it's only about distribution, so I'll take him on his word. Why not? No reason not to. So let's hope that's all it is. I just realised I haven't checked to see if I won the lottery last night. All 100 and something, 80 something million of it. No. Nada. I wonder if anybody won it. Nobody won it. This Friday, Euro Million gone up to £201 million. Wow, that's almost £250 million. That's mad. And the lotto here, the UK lottery, is on a triple rollover tonight. at 8.5 million. That'll do me. That'll do me nicely. That'll keep me in Briar for a few weeks. Well, I've bought my tickets now for tonight and for Friday night, so I don't forget. Well, you know it's going to be, Mark. It's going to be more than that because most of them are 100-gram tins, so you're going to be looking at 50 quid probably. And the 50 grams are going to be the same. They're not going to be less. I can't see why they would be less. You know, there's import taxes and all of that stuff, so it's going to be more. So I can't see it being any less than any of the UK brands, Samuel, Goworth, Hogarth, Germain's and that kind of thing. So you're going to be looking at 22, 23, 25 quid for a 50-gram tin of HU if it does come here. I can't see why it would be any less. Coming to the end of the bowl. We'll head on over to the lathe very shortly. We'll make a start on the pipe itself. I'm not going to be shaping it on the lathe, unless maybe I'll do just a rough egg shape. Well, it won't be egg shape, it'll be just a roundish kind of shape, and then I'll shape it more on the shaping wheel. I'll probably do that, yeah. Right, I think I'll actually take a lunch break. So I do use beard oil, but not as much as I should. That's probably why I'm scratching. But the one I'm using at the moment is this. I don't even know what it's called. I've got it on Amazon. It's actually really good. It smells nice. It's got a very clovey kind of smell to it. It says on the bottom RC, whatever that means. I should put some on now. It comes with a pipette, so it just helps. You can just inject your beard. It does leave it nice and smooth. There we go. guess that should be a daily ritual, shouldn't it? Right. I'm sure it's right in front of me somewhere. Where is my ashtray? Don't know what I've done with it. There it is. Yeah, that was pretty much down to the hill, that. It's a nice bowl of all it golden sliced. I haven't smoked it that much recently, so that went down well. Okay. Should we go straight over to the lathe, skip lunch? What do you reckon? I think I'm just going to go to the boys' room. I'll be back in a sec. I don't like to stop once I'm on the lathe, so.
Please at the front door.
Well, Jack, I don't know if you're still on, but I think your thing has just arrived. Happy smoke, Simon. Well, Jack has been very generous. He sent me 2 of the St. Bernard. One is from 2022 and one is his last bits from 2015. So he said it would be interesting to compare the 2. You can see the difference in colour, but I'll do a video on that separately. Thank you, Jack. If you're still on, thank you very much. That was very, very nice of you. Right, let's get going. That sounds good. As long as it's got a little bit of sweetness to go with that spice, that would be awesome. So I'm not going to shape the shank at all because I'm going to do a bit of a freehand shape on that. Maybe a triangle, a soft triangle, something like that. But I'm just going to do the mortise and the draft hole. St. Nicholas is a good pipe. I've put mine in my car now to make sure that I smoke it more. That's a good fit. Lovely jubbly. That's where we are so far. I shouldn't have put that beard oil on. It's what I'm getting in my mask now. Strong smell of beard oil. can't find the stem. Anyone see where I put the stem? I got it. Alright. I'm just live at the moment. What's up? Live. Okay. When are you home? When are you home? What? Alright, fine. I'll see you when you're home. Alright guys, well, my kids have just come home, so I'm going to take a bit of a break. I've done a bit of a... I managed to get past most of that. You saw there's a fissure on the side of the bowl. I managed to get rid of most of it, but I've done a very little fill on it, so that's got to dry as well now. So I will have to wrap things up for now. Who have we got here? Truckin', he's back. Hey Smokin', how you doing? Crazy Lead Piper. Hey. Who else have we got? You got snow, Smokin'? Jerusalem has snow? Hey Mike, how you doing? Hope you're well. Alright guys, I'm going to say hello to my kids, maybe have a little bite to eat. It's 3 o'clock and I haven't eaten since about 9:30, so a bit hungry. Anyway, really good to see you all, especially you Mike, I haven't seen you in a while, hope you're doing well. And I'll catch you on the next one. Why doesn't it want to turn off? There we go.